Healing Guides, Part 10, Creating the Plan. So, I advise and I inspire you a lot on how to go about your higher self, the professional aspect of them, to go and fulfill your dreams, your goals, as well as to develop your character, your soul, which means the morality. So, which means developing a relationship with God Almighty. So, this is going to be a really short one because I'm not really going to like talk about anything for this recording. I will share this simple templates that I made that you can use to create a weekly routine. So that's one of the advice that I have, or one of the best things to do in order to start finally going towards your dreams and goals. It's not just to write down what they are, which is what I said to do in the earlier recordings. That's step number one. But you actually want to incorporate them into your day, into your week, into your month. Okay, so create a weekly routine. You can always do different things every 2 other weeks or every other week. That's your choice. But usually your week should be the same anyway. Just the days and the hours you're going to do different things to fulfill different parts of you. Certain times you should be doing, religious type of, activities or behavior, where you're worshiping God, or, you're personally just praying to Him. And prayer, obviously, since there's so many different religions, you might be like, well, how can I pray? I don't know how to pray to Him then. Everyone's having their own version of what that looks like. You know, you can pray to Him orally. You could talk to Him. You can sit down in a private place. Don't obviously be in a loud or crazy place. Pick a time and pick an environment that's peaceful and safe and respectful. No drugs, no alcohol, no dirty stuff, no impurity, no sexual stuff. Uh, People who are not, naked or anything like that, in decent clothing. Just get away from all that stuff. Be respectful. Since you're trying to go to God and talk to Him, be respectful of Him, and don't bring all that stuff with you. Pick a safe, empty, quiet, clean room, right, or corner, and just talk to Him. First praise Him, first thank Him, glorify Him. God is all knowing, He's all seeing, He's all wise, He's all knowledgeable, He's all merciful, He's all, all patient. And yes, I am getting a lot of this information about who God is from my religion, Islam. But hopefully, you don't run away from that, because it is describing God with the best of qualities. And I hope that in your mind, you hope that God would actually be that great and not anything less, such as having children or spouse or etc. So, just glorify Him, call Him by beautiful names, such as God, you're great. You know what I mean? Don't go too far, because you might be calling Him things that you think are nice, but it's actually the complete opposite of God. So just use words that are sort of basic. Don't go too far. So words like God, you're great, you're all powerful, you're the Lord, you know, names and terminologies that you would agree, no matter what religion someone could be from, that we would all agree that those are the best words to call God by. While if you go too far, there might be that disparity. Some people are going to have a hard time, and they'll give you really healthy, logical reasons, and others, they just think they're being logical. So since you don't know, since there's so many religions, since it's conflicting, call God by, you know, the best words that are at the basic level of logic, like Lord, powerful, merciful. You would agree, logically speaking, God has to be those things. How can He be God and not be, powerful, right? Or not be merciful? So don't go beyond that. 'Cause exactly, that's when then religions would argue and fight and stuff. So pick a time with Him. and try to get to know him. Talk to him. Literally, God is literally just looking at you, just listening to you. He's not, even though he's a God, he's not what you think, in your mind what a God is. And demons put that into your head. Like sort of arrogant or uncomfortable, or like sort of like difficult to connect with. He's not like that. He's very um he's very merciful. You get me? So he's happy to hear any one of his creation calling him, asking for his help, trying to build a relationship with him, even though they don't know who he is and what religion to go into. Or maybe they are in the correct religion, but there's a lot of bad stuff in it and they don't know what to do. Despite that, you can have a connection with him. You can understand him. You can ask him to give you wisdom as the things that human beings are fighting over every day. And he can give you that wisdom. He can guide you. He can educate you. People just don't see God themselves. They look into religion and they try to study religion and then they fight, which is just like reading a book and other people reading the same book, and then you guys fighting over the chapters, what everyone thinks about it. No one's going to reach a conclusion, right? So go to the author, go to God himself. Ask him to reveal to you what is actually moral and what's actually immoral, as well as what is actually truthful and what is not truthful. Because you obviously are human, you know what's healthy and safe and good, and that's what moral is. But sometimes some people are like, no, this is actually what God said. And it's really bad, really sexist, really perverted, really weird, really twisted. You don't have to freak out. They're not God. Okay? They're just human. They're just like you. They didn't have a meeting with God, did they? You don't have to be paranoid that they believe that and they spread that so much. You go to God, you ask him for wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Don't run away from him because religions are all crazy, okay? You get me? Separate God from religion. You just try to get to know him, talk to him. He'll send you wisdom, knowledge, guidance, and he will actually educate you. I'm not joking around. Because otherwise, he's not a God. If he needs religion in order to guide you, if he needs you to be in his religion in order for you to, actually understand this life and how to live and what to do, that's dumb. That means he needs something else to guide you, right? And that means he can't guide you himself. So since he's God and he doesn't need his religion to guide you, right? He can just personally guide you himself. He can just give you knowledge. He can just give you wisdom. He might use parts of religion, you know, even if it's like the false ones. The truth that came from him that could be in those false religions, he could use that to guide you too, because that part is from him. You get me? So he'll just give you knowledge and he can use whatever source he wants. You get me? So go to him and try to have a relationship with him. Take that private environment, that private time and space, dedicate time to him and pray. Pray for knowledge, pray for health, pray for wisdom, pray for financial wealth, pray to have a stronger heart, a stronger mind, pray to have strength over your sins, etc. To leave these unhealthy lifestyles and things that you do. But don't treat God like that, like he's somehow supposed to save you like some sort of object. You obviously are choosing how you behave every day. So you need to put effort to stop the toxic, unhealthy things that you do to yourself every day. Like the drugs and the alcohol and the smoking and this hypersexuality and all this unhealthy stuff, and seek healthy relationship and look for an actual good companion that you can marry, and stop dishonoring yourself like that, as well as you become that healthy person so then you could actually be accepted. Otherwise, you don't deserve to look for someone good if you're not good yourself. So second, create a weekly routine. So part of that time in your week, you're dedicated to God, to praying, to understanding him, to asking him questions. And then the other times in your week, you dedicate to activities or behaviors that you're going to do to actually get to your goals and dreams. So those are two different things. Goal is more like just little things like, oh, I want to, buy that. I want to do this. I want to go to this country and travel. Those are just little nice things. Right? Well, dream is something bigger, something huge, a huge event in your life that you want to accomplish, which is like what you're going to do with your time. Like, not time, sorry, professional aspect of you. Like what type of career you're going to go for. And career doesn't mean academic. Career just means career. Some people have to go to school for it because that's where they get the knowledge. And some could get the knowledge outside of school and just develop into that profession. So either way, you need research. You need to study. You need to, go online, read books on how you're gonna achieve your dreams and goals. So do a lot of studying, do a lot of research. Okay, since you need to study and do a lot of research to get into your goals and dreams and accomplish them, the times that you need to do that, put that into your weekly routine. Don't just be like, I'm gonna just accomplish my goals. Yeah, but you need to have a plan. You need to. When are you gonna do it? Mondays. What are you gonna do? And don't overwhelm yourself. You know, um, do certain things. I'll give you two options. There's obviously more, but there's like two basic ways you can go about it. One would be for you to like do the same thing every day, but you're just doing different activities every hour, right? You wake up 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., which is a really good time to get up. It's better to sleep early, like 10 p.m. Don't sleep after 10 p.m., please. It's not healthy. And all the evil stuff comes out at that time. All the clubs, the bars, the crimes, all the bad stuff, all the toxic humans, the sinful, the perverts. Everyone comes out at night. In the day, really, people are working hard. Okay, so sleep early. Don't be awake so much at night. That's when demons really operate. That's why they created clubs and bars. They don't want anyone to sleep and rest and rejuvenate and heal. And then the next day they can do productive stuff again. And they just want to distract you with immoral things like clubs and bars and being promiscuous and stuff. Um, so you can either be like that, for example, you sleep at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. You wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and you can just start off right away, a few minutes of prayer to God. You talk to him, you seek his support. Again, you study religion so you can actually find him. Don't just, I'm not telling you to, just look for God and don't actually ever try to figure out which religion is right. Because I'm Muslim, right? I obviously want you to, in my mind, and be a Muslim one day, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. You get me? I'm not going to tell you to come to my religion. Because God is the one that will actually guide you. You get me? So he'll figure that out. Sorry for all the noise behind me. I'm usually, when I'm recording, I'm in a public place. Because, I don't know, just the inspiration comes to me usually when I'm outside. Because I just see things and I just remember things. So anyways, I'll try to record in more quieter times, like nighttime from now on. So, so basically, reserve some time for prayer and don't be selfish and just ask God for what you want, obviously. Try to figure out who he is and so you can actually worship him, and give that servitude, right? So, and here's my tip. Anything that's weird, twisted, strange, illogical, really evil, sexist, and perverted that you hear in Islam is not from God. That's the corruption. But Muslims are corrupted today and they're not going to tell you that. And I don't ever want to be specific because I don't have God's permission right now to be specific. When the time is right, if he wants me to tell the world what that is, I will. But right now, it's not time. I just want to give you that encryption. It's an encrypted message that Islam has a lot of corruption, and the corruption is in two areas, sexism and perversion. When you see anything sexist and perverted, that's not us. That's not our religion. That's not God Almighty. That's the corruption that entered. So you can still, if you actually do think Islam is the correct religion, you can enter it. Don't be paranoid and think you're entering a religion that accepts all that because it's your choice if you want to believe that evil stuff. That doesn't mean you have to believe in that stuff to be a Muslim because worshiping God is a personal relationship between you and your Lord. You personally would worship him. Of course, worshiping him means believing in what he taught you. But yeah, God knows that his religion is corrupted. He knows evil has come down. So he's not going to look at you like a bad person, being paranoid and trying to figure out which one is right. He wants you to think and use your mind. So he wants you to think the best of him, basically. You're actually disrespecting God. You're not being more obedient to him when you just follow whatever is in his book. Oh, I'm being more obedient. I'm just following whatever. You're dumb. If you actually respect God, you would actually be the thinker. You would be the judger. You'll be the questioner because you respect them so much, you're not going to believe anything about them, especially when you know liars are out there, which are demons, right? So out of respect for him, you actually would critique the religion and be like, that is not what God would say. You get me? So, anyways, I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm going to do this really quickly. Give some time to, trying to study religion and try to figure out who your Lord is and praying to him and asking for guidance. Again, when you do enter the correct religion, which I hope you do, which is Islam, do ask for discernment and guidance on which parts are incorrect, because there's a lot that's evil and wrong, but Muslim preachers are going to spread it all over the place. They'll tell you you're going to go to hell if you don't believe it. So I want you to remember that you're not worshiping them, you're not worshiping Muslims, you're not worshiping Islam, you're not worshiping the Quran, you're worshiping your Lord. Therefore, you go to him, you seek a relationship with him, you don't commit any bad things, any sin, any immorality, any evil. You're good to go. Okay? You don't have to force yourself to accept those parts that they try to force you to believe in, but they're actually so against morality. You don't have to. You can just say no. But don't go around telling Muslims, because they're going to attack you. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself, and you focus on building yourself up in knowledge and wisdom and seeking God himself. Talk to him every day and ask him to reveal to you what this stuff is. Is this actually really what he said? Did he really say this? God will tell you. He told me. I just can't tell anybody right now. When God decides, then they'll know. So I at least want you to go to God and build a relationship with him. Don't be too scared of the abundance of religions all over the place. And sometimes God will allow, people to get into other religions like Christianity, because it might be impossible for you to even know what Islam is or to even end up in it. So sometimes he'll just guide you to the religion that's closest to his religion, which is Christianity, because this religion was Islam at the beginning. It's just that due to the Torah, which is the Bible today, that got corrupted, that's the same book that the God I'm worshiping sent down. But because it got corrupted, it created a new religion based on the new stuff it became. You get me? So sometimes God is going to allow you to just continue to be in that, false religion, Christianity, because, it might be sort of like not really possible to make you a Muslim right now. There might be things that will hold you back from that, such as I told you, the perversion and sexism that's in Islam. There's just too much perversion and sexism that's promoted in this religion. Okay, so even if it is the right religion, that stuff will push a lot of you away. So, you get me? God might just allow you to just be a Christian then. Either way, you're still following a corrupted book that he sent down in the past, because it's still closest to him. In our book, the Quran, the Quran, God says the people of the book, to describe Christians. So you're not like some sort of far away people from him. You're sort of close. You get me? Because you're still following a book that he sent down, but it's just not his original book anymore. It's corrupted. You get me? And that's why it has sexism and perversion in the Bible as well, because I talked a lot about this in my healing guides in the prior recordings. Demons need that, because that's the only way to possess people. They have to turn everyone into a pervert or sexist, okay? That's the only way to possess human beings. They need people in that direction. So, as well as that's just the highest evil God created, perversion, immorality, two genders abusing each other. So they will always put that into God's religion, okay? And that's how you can see that it's not from God. Don't think because it's in every religion that actually means it's from God, because it's every religion is sexist and perverted. No, it's actually the fact that every religion is sexist and perverted that proves that that's demonic influences putting that into every religion. You get me? Because they don't want even the false religions to have any basic morality. You get me? They have to put the sexism and the perversion into these religions, even if they're false. You get me? They don't care. They don't care, because to them what's important is that not a single group in the human race ever has the actual healthy, correct view on male versus female, how they should treat each other. They want perversion and sexism to always be in the middle of these two genders, ruining how they should treat each other. And obviously it's always going to put the female down. So, you get me? Demons are not gonna just put bad stuff in the false religion. I'm sorry, in the correct religion, and put bad false religions over here and make them healthy. No, because then you're still benefiting from that, right? You're still benefiting from the good stuff this false religion is teaching you. They don't want that, okay? But you do agree, right? Every religion is sexist and perverted, and it always portrays the best of God's creation, like the prophets, as if they were perverts, okay? Um, so just understand that's what demons did. It doesn't mean that God is sexist and perverted. That's just what they do every time to his religion. They choose that subject, sexism and perversion. They don't like something else. They're not going to tell you God is a donkey. They're not going to do that. They're going to go after the male and the female. They're going to turn them against each other. But there's only two genders. If they're against each other, if they're abusing each other, if the healthy moral ones are a minority and everyone else is just believing in this nonsense, okay, it destroys everything. It destroys the family line because they're going to have kids, and now the way they raise those kids is based on the sexism they operate from. Love will never be there because there's sexism. You get me? There's promiscuity. There's all this stuff that they're still practicing, whether they're married or not. So, anyways, right now there's a lot of spiritual growth that is gonna come to the human race overall. Everyone is gonna get impacted by this spiritual awakening or the spiritual growth that's happening in the world right now. God is just awakening a lot of people. He's teaching them a lot of things. A lot of the people who have been lost in darkness and sin and perversion and all that, like a lot of homosexuals, God is guiding them back. Even if they end up going to other religions that are false, He still saved them. You get me? He still allowed them to go into that temporarily. He still saved them. So God is just going to save a lot of people. So your weekly routine, I kind of went off topic a little bit, should involve you learning and studying knowledge and religion and spirituality, not by yourself, okay? Because you're going to fail or demons will attack you, even if you're very smart. I want you to seek God, his counsel, consult with him every time. Start the prayer glorifying him, and ask him for knowledge, ask him for discernment, ask him for wisdom to guide you so you don't actually go into the wrong place. And you might be looking at the correct religion, but run away because of that sexism and perversion in it, those false things in it. Just understand, you can ask God. You get me? Ask him. He's not a dead God. He's living right now. He's alive. He never dies. He's active. You get me? He's not absent. He's active. If you talk to him, yeah, you're not going to always get the answer right away. He's not going to just talk to you right away in your mind. But, over time, he'll guide you. Which is why sometimes he doesn't answer you right away in a prayer. Because every human thinks differently, learns differently, has a certain level of wisdom and knowledge. You agree? We're not all at the same intellectual level, same education level. We don't all learn everything the same level. And not all of us are wise or spiritually at the same level, awake, right? Okay, so he can't teach you everything. He can't answer your question the exact same way. So he might be waiting to set situations up for you, create situations that will then teach you the answer to your question or to your prayer. That's why sometimes he will take days, or some time. Because he has to teach you a certain way that fits your level of knowledge and understanding. Okay, so set time for God. Set time to strengthen yourself in the wisdom area and the spiritual religion area. And don't be scared of it, okay? God knows it's difficult. He knows there's a lot of religions. He knows it's hard for people to know what's actually from him and what's not. Okay, but if you seek him, you'll know. Do you see what I'm saying? Just don't give up because it takes time. He might take months and years to really give you all the knowledge. Don't just give up and run away and say, I don't believe in God anymore. don't be like that. Just still stay with him. You get me? So this spiritual awakening stuff, around the near future, God will send down leaders who will actually take the corruption out of religion overall. You get me? And really give people the truth. Since there's not going to be any more prophets coming, there's going to be leaders coming. Okay, but until that time, you can be doing the due diligence, you can be doing the research, you can be doing the work that's needed to study and to be patient in that studying, right? Because it gets frustrated. Okay, but at least you're a moral person, you're healthy, you have a good character, you don't do these bad things, You don't do anything bad to yourself like drugs or alcohol. You get me? At least you're clean and you're healthy and you're not doing things that you know, right? On a basic level that you would agree God would not want you to be doing, such as being sexual outside of marriage, just being perverted in that way. You get me? Obviously, everyone who did something sexual is not perverted. I'm talking about the one who's just doing that all over the place. You get me? So God wouldn't want you, you obviously would agree, He wouldn't want you to be sexual before marriage. He would want you to have a pure sexuality, and He wouldn't want you being perverted and fooling around all the time. As if sex is some sort of food that you're supposed to do every month. I can't even believe the type of people we have in this world. Usually it's the Europeans, but the other races have learned it who are not religious anymore. They treat sex like they're married to their spouse or something. Literally every week, every month, they look for a new person to be sexual with, as if that's like how they're supposed to be. You get me? Like an active sex life. What? Why don't you just look for random people you don't even know? Right? You meet them, you just do it. You meet another one, you just do it. What is going? That's so disgusting. You know. So that's perversion, and I want you to leave it. You may not want to believe me, but I know you are all possessed right now. Have to at least listen to me now. Maybe you don't want to listen prior to that because you don't know. But now, those of you who live like that, you do know there's something physically in your body controlling you sometimes. Taking control over your body, your hands, your words, your mouth just moves without you. All of a sudden, you're talking to this person, right? Boom! You just hear yourself speak, but you didn't speak. You didn't personally want to say that. That's you being possessed and demons talking out of you. So at least you have to believe demons exist, right? Even if you don't like religion or anything like that. If you have actually seen yourself having these behaviors come out of you without your permission. So then, for that reason, you can't really deny what I'm telling you. You can't just ignore the fact that there's a common denominator. All the people who would say they got possessed, if we interview all of them, they all have one thing in common. They're promiscuous in their sexuality. They're doing sexual things outside of marriage, okay? So you have to agree that's why they got possessed. But those who are not like that, like many Muslims who don't even do that stuff, they get married as virgins. How do they get possessed? Just simply by being perverted or evil. You get me? Because that obviously also gets you possessed. So for that reason, create that weekly routine. Give some time to God, time to study and gain knowledge. Don't just wait for religious preachers to do that. They're not God. They're not your prophets. And even if they were prophets, who cares? Not even if they were prophets, sorry. Even if prophets were here, who cares? You are an individual and you're supposed to take care of yourself. When it comes to all the areas of your life, like knowledge, you're in charge of yourself. No one is some sort of controller over you. So you need to do that for yourself. You need to be a person of wisdom, a person of knowledge. Don't be that carnal level. I want you to get out of that carnal basic level that you're stuck in. You know, you just go to school, you're just sexual all your life, and then you have a kid at some point, you get married, and then you just work, and then you die. That's so weak and carnal, and I want you out of that area. Get closer to your higher self. Get closer to bigger dreams and goals, and look for God, the spiritual aspect, and develop yourself as a person so that you don't seek validation from others. So that you're not those humans who would die if they don't go, to the opposite gender who's not related to them. Because, you're okay. So create that weekly routine. Give some time to what you're going to do. Like, let's say you have 4 or 5 goals and you have 2 dreams that you have. Okay, behaviors that you need to do in order to get to them, write them down. You research if you don't know. For example, if you want to start a business, you research the type of business you want to start, how to actually start it. Research online, research reading books. Okay, now you put that into steps you would take. And then those steps, you put it into your weekly routine. As for example, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., you're going to do this step. You get me? Every day. And then later, after that hour, you do some other activity that would be for another goal or another dream, as well as just things you need to do for yourself that day to just, take care of yourself, like, you know, taking a break or going to the restroom or whatever, and just cleaning yourself, whatever. You have time for yourself, obviously, but obviously you took care of that when you woke up, and you would, the rest of the day, obviously, put into activities for your goals and dreams, and then just do that every day. Take breaks, I would say 30-minute break, and then if you have to work 8 hours a day, you can work, but usually a lot of you do office jobs, maybe cubicle, maybe even call center jobs. You can have a notepad or notebook and a pen and write everything down. Still be productive. You can still work simultaneously. If not, then you're gonna have to put some time into when you're coming back. You're driving. You listen to audio versions of the research and the knowledge that you need. And when you actually come home and you take at least 30 minutes or an hour to just refresh yourself, then or you eat after and you eat and stuff, etc. Then you really start. I mean, you already know you're human beings. You know how to just do behaviors in order to get to your goals and dreams. But I am saying write it down in a routine. So that's gonna push you, and that's gonna give you this feeling that you're reaching something. So I'll provide the template for that, and whoever wants that, they can just download it or copy it. Take care of yourselves.